The quiet village of Motawa. In the heart of a lush valley lies Motawa, a small village where life flows as gently as the river that sustains it. Time-honored traditions shape the lives of its people, and ancient folktales are as much a part of their daily routine as harvesting crops and mending nets. The villagers are a tightly knit community, bonded by shared history and whispered stories of spirits and curses passed down through generations. Isaiah, a bright and kind young girl, is the light of her family and a favorite among her neighbors. With her luminous eyes and quick smile, she has a knack for putting people at ease. Yet, her peculiar curiosity sets her apart. She has always been drawn to the strange and the unknown, often wandering alone in the woods or sitting quietly in corners, observing the world in a way that seems deeper than her years. Her family is her anchor. Zora, her mother, is a hard-working farmer with a warm heart and hands callous from years of toil. Dumo, her father, is a storyteller with a voice that can bring both laughter and tears. His tales of spirits, heroes, and hidden words have earned him the village's respect, and Isaiah has always been his most captivated audience. Lately, though, Isaiah has begun to change. Her cheerful demeanor is clouded by unease. She wakes in the morning with mysterious scratches on her arms and legs. At night, whispers escape her lips as if she's holding conversations in her dreams. The strangest of all is her newfound aversion to mirrors. She flinches at her reflection, sometimes covering them with cloth. Rumors begin to swirl. The villagers, ever attuned to the supernatural, speculate about curses or restless spirits. Perhaps she wandered too far into the forbidden grove, some say. Maybe she has been marked by the old ones, others whisper. Despite the growing unease, Zora and Dumo brush off the talk as baseless gossip. Children are imaginative, they assure themselves. She'll grow out of it. But in the quiet hours, when no one is watching, even Zora and Dumo can't deny the shiver of doubt creeping into their hearts. Something is happening to their beloved daughter, something they cannot explain. The stranger's warning. The peaceful rhythm of Motawa is disrupted one morning when a hunched elder named Boma appears in the village square. Wrapped in faded robes and leaning on a gnarled staff, Boma exudes an air of mystery that makes the villagers uneasy. Known in neighboring regions as a wandering seer, she is both revered and feared for her cryptic words and uncanny insights. Boma claims to feel a dark presence lingering in Motawa, one that has taken an interest in Isaiah. She approaches Zora and Dumo, her piercing eyes seemingly looking through them. "Your daughter is not alone," she says in a gravelly voice. There is an imbalance around her, a shadow that grows stronger with each passing day. Zora stiffens, her instincts as a mother flaring. "Isaiah is just a child," she says. "She's safe with us." Dumo, though troubled by Boma's words, tries to stay calm. "We respect your wisdom, but this is our family matter," he says. "Isaiah will be fine." Despite their outward resolve, the couple cannot shake the unease Boma's warning stirs in their hearts. At school, Isaiah finds herself drawn to a new student, Chanda, a girl who seems to have an effortless charm. Chanda is unlike anyone Isaiah has ever met, confident, generous, and always surrounded by admirers. She gifts sweets and trinkets to her classmates, winning their affection with ease. But to Isaiah, Chanda feels oddly, overwhelming, like sunlight that's too bright to look at directly. Isaiah's best friend, Toma, is less impressed by Chanda. A strong-willed girl with a deep sense of spirituality, Toma notices subtle oddities about her. Chanda seems to have an uncanny way of knowing what people want, and she moves through the school as though she owns it. One day, Toma catches Chanda performing a strange ritual over the sweets she gives out, muttering words under her breath before passing them to the other children. Toma's instincts scream that something is wrong. She confronts Isaiah, urging her to be cautious. "There's something off about Chanda," Toma says firmly. "She's not what she seems." Isaiah, feeling torn, brushes off Toma's warnings, unwilling to believe her new friend could harbor ill intentions. But as Chanda's influence spreads through the school, and more children fall under her spell, Isaiah begins to feel a creeping suspicion of her own. Little does she know, the strange happenings surrounding her are tied to something far more sinister, and Chanda is at the center of it all. The transformation. The peaceful nights in the Zora and Dumo household are shattered when a chilling event unfolds. Late one evening, Zara is startled awake by an unsettling noise from Isaiah's room, a series of low growls mixed with the scrape of something against the walls. Heart pounding, she grabs a lamp and cautiously approaches her daughter's door. What she sees makes her blood run cold. Isaiah is perched impossibly high on the ceiling, her limbs bent at unnatural angles. Her eyes glow with a fiery, otherworldly light, and a deep, guttural growl reverberates through the room. The sight freezes Zara in place, her mind struggling to comprehend what she's witnessing. Summoning every ounce of courage, Zara screams for Dumo. He bursts into the room wielding a torch, his expression a mixture of alarm and confusion. The moment the torchlight floods the room, Isaiah's body convulses, and she collapses onto her bed, her breathing slow and steady as though in a deep sleep. The terrifying vision is gone, leaving Zara trembling and questioning her sanity. She was on the ceiling, Dumo. Her eyes, they were glowing. Zara whispers, her voice shaking. Dumo, trying to calm her, brushes off the incident. You were dreaming, Zara. The stress is getting to you. She's just a child. But deep down, even Dumo can't ignore the crackling tension that seems to fill the air in Isaiah's presence. As Zora struggles to shake the vivid image from her mind, Boma's warning resurfaces. Could the elder have been right? She resolves to seek Boma again, desperate for answers. Meanwhile, at school, Chanda tightens her grip on the other children, her charm weaving an almost spell-like influence over her peers. She turns her attention to Toma, offering her a beautifully wrapped snack that just happens to be Toma's favorite. Take it, Chanda says, her voice smooth and inviting. It's a gift, for a friend. Toma hesitates, sensing the same unnatural undercurrent she felt before. She refuses the snack, her firm gaze meeting Chanda's. I don't need gifts to be your friend, she says sharply. Chanda's smile falters for a brief moment, but she quickly recovers, her demeanor as pleasant as ever. Still, Toma leaves feeling unnerved. Toma's worries deepen as she notices Isaiah's increasingly strange behavior. Isaiah often seems distracted, as though listening to voices no one else can hear. At times, her once bright eyes seem distant and hollow. Determined to protect her friend, Toma begins to investigate Chanda, convinced that the mysterious girl is somehow connected to Isaiah's troubles. As Toma's suspicions grow, so does the danger. Whatever darkness has crept into Motawa is no longer lurking in the shadows, it's taking shape, and Isaiah is at the heart of it. Unveiling the truth. Zara, still haunted by the horrifying sight of her daughter perched on the ceiling, cannot ignore the growing sense of dread. The whispers in the village, Boma's cryptic warning, and now Isaiah's escalating oddities all point to something far beyond her understanding. Desperate, she ventures to the outskirts of Motawa, where Boma resides in a modest hut surrounded by talismans and symbols carved into the earth. When Zora arrives, the elder greets her with a knowing expression, as if she had anticipated this visit. You've seen it now, haven't you? Boma asks, her voice heavy with sorrow. Zara nods, her hands trembling. Isaiah, something is happening to her. Please, tell me how to stop it. Boma sighs, gesturing for Zara to sit. She begins to explain that the village has become a hunting ground for a powerful spirit that feeds on human greed and weakness. The spirit has chosen a vessel, a child named Chanda, to carry out its will. Chanda is not who she appears to be, Boma says gravely. She is a puppet, but a willing one. The spirit thrives on the greed of those who accept her gifts, binding their souls with every morsel, every trinket she bestows. Zora's stomach tightens as she recalls the strange, lavish sweets and gifts Chanda had been offering to the children, including Isaiah. Isaiah took something from her, Zora whispers, dread thick in her voice. That's why she's changing, isn't it? Boma nods solemnly. The moment your daughter accepted Chanda's offering, she opened a door to the spirit world. Now, her soul is marked, and the transformation has begun. If left unchecked, Isaiah will be consumed entirely. But there must be a way to stop this, Zora pleads, her voice breaking. Boma's expression hardens with resolve. There is. A ritual of protection can sever the spirit's hold on her, but it must be done before the next full moon, when the spirit's power will be at its peak. You will need strength, faith, and the courage to face what you fear most. Meanwhile, at school, the atmosphere grows increasingly tense. Chanda's charm has turned more insidious, her influence over the students almost hypnotic. Toma, ever watchful, finally confronts her during recess. She corners Chanda near the edge of the schoolyard, her heart pounding but her resolve unshaken. Who are you really? Toma demands, her voice steady despite the fear bubbling inside her. What are you doing to Isaiah and everyone else? Chanda tilts her head, her lips curling into a sinister smile that sends a chill down Toma's spine. You're braver than most, she says, her tone dripping with mock admiration. But bravery won't save you. In a chilling moment, Chanda's facade drops. Her eyes flash with an unnatural light, and her voice deepens, carrying an otherworldly echo. Stay out of my way, little girl, she warns. Your prayers won't protect you if you meddle in things you don't understand. Despite the fear clawing at her, Toma stands her ground. I don't need to understand to fight for my friend, she says, her voice firm. Chanda's smile widens, but there's a flicker of annoyance in her expression. Suit yourself, she says with a shrug. But remember this, curiosity has a cost, and you might not like the price. As Chanda walks away, Toma feels the weight of her threat settle over her like a dark cloud. Yet, her determination only hardens. She knows she must act quickly to save Isaiah, even if it means putting herself in danger. For the first time, she begins to pray, not just for strength but for guidance, hoping that whatever forces of good still linger in the world will hear her call. Unbeknownst to her, Isaiah's time is running out, and the battle to save her will demand sacrifices no one in Motawa could have anticipated the ritual. Zora's growing desperation finally convinces Dumo that something is terribly wrong. Though he has tried to rationalize Isaiah's strange behavior, the undeniable evidence of deep scratches crisscrossing her skin and the bizarre, jagged symbols now etched on her arms leave him shaken. Late one night, as Isaiah sleeps fitfully in her room, Zora shows Dumo the markings, her voice trembling with emotion. You can't ignore this anymore, Dumo. This isn't just dreams or imagination, something is inside our daughter. Dumo, his pride clashing with his fear, reluctantly agrees. Together, they seek out Boma, who promises to gather a circle of spiritual elders to help. This will not be easy, Boma warns. The spirit will fight to keep its hold on Isaiah. You must be prepared for what you will see, and for what you may lose. The next evening, their modest home becomes a sacred battlefield. Boma arrives with a group of spiritual elders from neighboring villages, each bearing tools of their craft, bundles of sage, carved talismans, bowls of purified water, and drums that carry the heartbeat of their chants. The room is transformed into a ceremonial space, with protective symbols drawn on the floors and walls in ash and chalk. As the ritual begins, Isaiah is seated at the center of the room, her hands and feet bound loosely with braided cords blessed by the elders. At first, she seems calm, her eyes glassy and distant as if she is unaware of her surroundings. The elders form a circle around her, their low chants filling the air with a rhythmic, haunting melody. The flames of the nearby lamps flicker and sway, casting eerie shadows that seem to move with a will of their own. Suddenly, Isaiah's body stiffens, and a guttural growl escapes her lips. Her head snaps upward, and her eyes glow with the same unnatural light Zora had seen that fateful night. Her skin ripples, and her limbs elongate grotesquely, sharp claws sprouting from her fingertips. A shadowy aura engulfs her, dark tendrils lashing out as if alive. Zora and Dumo gasp, their hearts pounding as they clutch each other for support. What is happening to her? Zora cries, tears streaming down her face. Boma, her voice steady but strained, shouts over the growing cacophony, the spirit is revealing its true form. Hold fast, we must not stop. Isaiah thrashes violently, her monstrous form straining against the bonds as the elders' chants grow louder, their voices blending into a powerful harmony. The air becomes thick and heavy, charged with a palpable tension as the battle between light and darkness unfolds. Shadows ride along the walls, forming grotesque shapes that seem to sneer and mock the chanting elders. One of the elders, a woman with a strong, commanding presence, steps forward, holding a bowl of water infused with crushed herbs and sacred oils. She hurls the water at Isaiah, and the shadows recoil with a deafening hiss. Isaiah screams, a chilling, inhuman sound that reverberates through the house. Zora and Dumo cling to each other, tears streaming down their faces as they watch their daughter's body convulse, caught in the throes of an otherworldly struggle. The elders continue their chants, their voices unwavering even as the room seems to buckle under the weight of the dark energy. Boma, at the center of the circle, raises her staff high and begins to recite an incantation in a language that feels ancient and powerful. The staff glows faintly, and a pulse of light spreads outward, momentarily driving back the darkness. But the spirit does not relent. With a surge of force, Isaiah breaks free of her bonds, lunging toward the nearest elder with claws outstretched. Zora screams, but the elder stands firm, raising a talisman that emits a burst of blinding light. Isaiah is thrown back, landing in the center of the circle, her monstrous form flickering as though caught between two worlds. The battle reaches its climax as the elders pour every ounce of their spiritual strength into the ritual. The drums beat faster, their rhythm matching the rapid pulse of Zora and Dumo's hearts. The light from Boma's staff intensifies, and the shadows begin to dissolve, their hisses turning to anguished wails. Finally, with a final, deafening cry, the dark aura surrounding Isaiah shatters like glass, sending a shockwave through the room. The silence that follows is deafening, broken only by Isaiah's soft, gasping breaths. Her monstrous form fades, and she collapses into her mother's arms, her body limp but peaceful. Zora and Dumo sob with relief as the elders, visibly drained, begin to dismantle the ceremonial circle. Boma places a hand on Zora's shoulder, her expression weary but resolute. The spirit is gone, she says, her voice heavy with exhaustion. But the scars it left behind may take time to heal. Though the ritual is over, the family knows this is not the end. They have won the battle, but the war against the forces that lurk in the shadows of their world is far from over. For now, they hold Isaiah close, grateful for the light that has been restored to their lives. Thomas' courage. The festive air at school buzzed with excitement as the upcoming celebration, a mix of traditional storytelling, games, and a feast, drew near. For most, it was a time of joy and camaraderie. But for Toma, the air felt heavy with foreboding. She had spent weeks observing Chanda, watching how her gifts ensnared her classmates, drawing them under her spell. Now, Toma overheard Chanda whispering to a group of students about the event. Her words were sweet, but the sinister undertone sent a chill through Toma's spine. That evening, Toma stayed behind, pretending to finish her chores. As the other students left, she crept toward Chanda's desk. Hidden within were items that radiated an unsettling energy, a small box adorned with strange carvings, shards of glass wrapped in cloth, and a woven bracelet that Toma recognized immediately. It was Isaiah's favorite bracelet, one she had thought lost months ago. Toma's heart raced as she pieced together the truth. These objects were anchors, tools used to bind the students to Chanda's growing influence. Each item pulsed faintly, as though alive. The bracelet in particular seemed to hum with an energy that made Toma's skin crawl. She clutched it tightly, her fear battling with a fierce determination. "This has to stop," she whispered to herself. Toma's hands trembled as she gathered the items and slipped out of the school unnoticed. She took them to a quiet grove just outside the village, a place where she often prayed. Kneeling beneath the spreading branches of an ancient tree, she placed the enchanted objects before her and closed her eyes. Toma prayed with a fervor she had never known before. "Great Spirit of Light, protect us. Give me the strength to break these chains and free my friends." Her voice wavered, but her resolve did not. As she prayed, a gentle wind stirred the leaves around her, as though the grove itself were listening. When Toma opened her eyes, she took a deep breath and lifted the bracelet. A sharp pain shot through her hand, but she held firm, gripping the object as though her very soul depended on it. With a sudden cry, she slammed the bracelet against a nearby rock. It shattered into fragments, releasing a pulse of dark energy that swirled violently before dissipating into the air. The reaction was immediate. Back at the school, Chanda, who had been laughing with a group of students, suddenly staggered. Her confident smile faltered as she clutched her chest, her face contorted with pain. The dark glow in her eyes dimmed, and her composure cracked, revealing a flicker of fear. In the grove, Toma wasted no time. She destroyed the other objects one by one, each shattering with a similar burst of energy. The final object, the small box, resisted her efforts. As she struck it, a voice seemed to whisper in her ear, "You regret this." But Toma did not stop. With a final, determined blow, the box split open, releasing a wave of light that banished the shadows clinging to the grove. As the object's power was broken, the effects rippled outward. At home, Isaiah, who had been resting fitfully, let out a sharp gasp. Her body relaxed, and the faint scars on her skin began to fade. Zora and Dumo, who had been watching over her, wept with relief as they realized the spirit's grip on their daughter was weakening. Back at the school, Chanda stumbled to her knees, her control over the students shattered. Her once commanding presence had diminished, leaving her looking fragile and uncertain. The other children, confused and disoriented, began to pull away from her, their gazes no longer clouded by her influence. Exhausted but triumphant, Toma returned to the village, her steps heavy but her heart light. She knew the battle wasn't over, Chanda was still a threat, and the spirit's full power had not yet been vanquished. But she had dealt a critical blow, and for the first time, she felt the strength of the light guiding her path. As she neared her home, the distant sound of a bell rang out, a reminder that the celebration would still take place. But this time, Toma would not attend as an observer. She would be a protector, watching over her friends and ready to confront whatever darkness dared to rise again. For now, the village of Motawa could breathe a little easier, thanks to her unyielding courage. Redemption and lessons. The aftermath of the ritual at Isaiah's home left the family in an emotional whirlwind. As the spirit was expelled, Isaiah collapsed into Zora's arms, her small body finally free from the oppressive darkness that had consumed her. Zora and Dumo held her close, tears of relief mingling with exhaustion as they realized their daughter was safe. When Isaiah woke the next morning, the light in her eyes had returned, though her face bore a haunted expression. "Mama. Baba." She began hesitantly, her voice trembling. "I remember some of it. It felt like I wasn't myself, like something was pulling me into a dark place. I couldn't stop it." Tears spilled down her cheeks as she looked at her parents. "I'm so sorry." I didn't listen. I should have been more careful. Zora and Dumo embraced her tightly. You're home now, and that's all that matters, Zara said, stroking her daughter's hair. Dumo, his voice choked with emotion, added, we are proud of you, Isaiah. You're stronger than you know. News of the family's ordeal spread quickly through Motawa, and the village buzzed with talk of spirits, rituals, and bravery. At school, Chanda's influence had waned entirely. No longer able to hide her true nature, she was exposed for what she was, a vessel for a malevolent spirit. The children, freed from her control, avoided her with wide eyes and whispered fear. Sensing the tide turning against her, Chanda fled the village under the cover of night, leaving behind only unease and unanswered questions. Toma, meanwhile, emerged as an unlikely hero. Her courage in confronting Chanda and destroying the enchanted objects had saved Isaiah and broken the spirit's grip on the school. The villagers, once skeptical of Toma's warnings, now praised her bravery. You've shown us all the strength of a faithful heart, one elder said during a gathering. You're a reminder that even the smallest light can drive out the deepest darkness. Isaiah, deeply moved by Toma's actions, sought out her friend. You saved me, Isaiah said, her voice full of gratitude. I didn't understand before, but now I know how much I have to be thankful for. The two friends hugged, their bond stronger than ever. Isaiah vowed to herself to be more mindful of her choices, to value contentment over greed, and to listen to the quiet wisdom Toma had always shown. As the village began to heal, Dumo saw an opportunity to turn their harrowing experience into a lesson for future generations. During the next village gathering, he stood before the community, his voice carrying the weight of their shared ordeal. This is the story of a girl who was almost lost but found her way back because of faith, vigilance, and unity, Dumo began, his gaze sweeping over the gathered faces. He recounted the tale with vivid detail, the arrival of the mysterious Chanda, the strange changes in Isaiah, the warnings of Boma, and Toma's unyielding courage. The children listened with wide eyes, while the elders nodded solemnly, understanding the deeper truths embedded in his words. The spirit preyed on greed and carelessness, Dumo said, his voice steady. But it was driven out by love, prayer, and the bravery of those who refused to give up. Let this be a reminder to all of us, the greatest strength we have is not in riches or power, but in standing together and holding fast to what is good. As Dumo finished his tale, the villagers erupted into applause, their cheers ringing through the night air. Isaiah sat beside her parents, her heart full as she watched the village celebrate the strength they had found in each other. For the first time in weeks, she felt at peace. The celebration ended with a renewed sense of unity. The children played beneath the moonlit sky, the adults shared stories and laughter, and Toma, though modest about her role, was showered with thanks and admiration. Boma, watching quietly from the edge of the gathering, smiled faintly before disappearing into the shadows, her task complete. As life in Motawa returned to its serene rhythm, Isaiah carried the lessons of her ordeal close to her heart. She knew she would never forget the darkness she had faced, but she also knew that it had taught her the importance of caution, gratitude, and the strength of those who truly cared for her. In the years to come, the story of Isaiah, Toma, and the spirit that once haunted Motawa became one of Dumo's most cherished tales. Told around fires during long winter nights, it served as a beacon of hope and a warning, a testament to the power of faith, vigilance, and the unbreakable bonds of a united community. You said. As the years passed, the tale of Isaiah and the Spirit of Shadows grew into one of Motawa's most cherished legends, passed down to every new generation. It was no longer just a story of fear and danger but one of resilience, friendship, and redemption, a story that reminded the villagers of their shared humanity and the strength found in unity. Isaiah herself grew into a wise and compassionate woman, often sought out for her counsel by the younger villagers. She never shied away from recounting her experiences, choosing instead to use her story to teach others. She would gather children under the village's ancient tree and speak of the importance of discernment, humility, and the strength to resist temptations that seemed too good to be true. Tama, now a revered figure in the village, remained ever faithful and grounded. Though she never sought recognition for her bravery, she became an inspiration to all, especially the youth. Her simple but unwavering belief in the power of goodness and prayer left an indelible mark on the community. She and Isaiah remained close friends, their bond unbroken by time. The tale even extended beyond Motawa, spreading to neighboring villages as Dumo traveled to share it during festivals and gatherings. His storytelling, rich with emotion and wisdom, painted vivid pictures of the trials his family endured and the courage that ultimately saved them. Many who heard the tale felt a renewed sense of faith and resolve, carrying its lessons back to their own communities. Boma, the enigmatic elder who had played a crucial role in guiding the family through the darkness, became a figure of quiet reverence. Though she rarely stayed in one place for long, her visits to Motawa were greeted with warmth and gratitude. She often reminded the villagers that her role had been small and that the true heroes were those who had stood against the darkness with unyielding faith and courage. As for Chanda, her fate remained a mystery. Some whispered that she had been consumed by the spirit that once controlled her, while others believed she wandered the lands, forever cursed to bear the burden of her choices. Regardless, her name became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of succumbing to greed and the allure of forbidden power. In time, Motawa thrived, its people stronger and more united than ever. The once shadowed corners of the village now seemed brighter, the echoes of past darkness replaced with laughter and song. Each year, during the harvest festival, the story of Isaiah, Tama, and the spirit of shadows was retold with reverence and pride, ensuring that its lessons would never be forgotten. And so, the story lived on, not as a tale of despair, but as a shining example of the enduring power of love, faith, and the strength found in standing together against even the darkest of forces. It became more than a memory, it became a part of Motawa's soul, a guiding light for generations to come.